Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Donald Trump this morning, right before arriving at his Virginia golf course, tweeted the following: "The biggest winner of our new defense bill is China. I will veto." This has been a threat that Donald Trump has held for multiple weeks now. Donald Trump has continued to reiterate that he will be vetoing the defense bill that was just passed by Congress. Let's go ahead and break down what this means for the military, what the actual deadlines are, what Congress can do about it, and what does this mean for stimulus negotiations. Let's try to tie this all together because we are coming up on a crazy week. The Federal Reserve meets Tuesday and Wednesday, and they'll give us their opinions on what the heck is going to happen in the marketplace and what they're going to do about it. Then we're going to hear on the 18th, well, the 18th is quadruple witching day in the stock market, which is crazy. It's also the day before Tesla gets included into the S&P 500, which that's going to be crazy. But it's also the deadline for a stimulus bill and a budget bill. So this week's going to be nuts. It's the week before Christmas, so a lot of people are trying to get things done. But let's take a breath here and understand what the heck is going on with this bill. Why would Donald Trump veto the National Defense Authorization Act that was just passed by Congress, and pretty much with bipartisan support from, well, both sides. Bipartisan support, after all. Let's figure this out right after I mention that you should, of course, get 4 free stocks with Webull. Deposit $100, you will get 4 totally free stocks. If you haven't done this yet, you gotta ask yourself why. Why are you not picking up 4 free stocks with Webull? They will give you at least $21. Up to $1,600. All you have to do is deposit $100, and you could trade pre-market and after hours. It's down below, right next to the link for life insurance you can get in as little as 5 minutes without having to talk to anyone. Just do it on your phone and your app, and your Apple Pay or Android Pay for it. All right, so let's get into this. The first thing that comes up with Donald Trump's tweet is he suggests that China wins from this defense bill passing in the United States. Some say this is just Donald Trump blaming China because it arouses Donald Trump's base. Others say it's because Chinese-made drones were supposed to be banned in this bill, but they're not. And in case you're wondering, like, Chinese-made drones, that doesn't sound good. Chinese-made drones are probably the most popular drones in America. If you've ever heard of DJI, those are Chinese-made. They've got really good gimbals, they've got really good drones. There was a consideration to ban these, but the ban was not included in that bill. But the bill actually does include something called the Pacific Deterrence Initiative, which is worth $6.9 billion, and it actually increases the U.S. cooperation and joint forces in the space between India and China. And so that's actually kind of a way of counteracting China. So the media right now and the press are not exactly sure why Donald Trump says that this defense bill is a win for China. And now we're going to try to unpackage why Donald Trump would potentially actually veto this bill. And then we're going to try to understand what this means in context of stimulus negotiations. So here's the scoop. The House and Senate passed this bill for $740.5 billion. It's a pretty fat bill. It's big. It's the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, and it basically funds the military, weapons, tanks, planes, defense funding, pay raises for the military, you name it. If it's related to the military, it's probably in here. I mean, there's even a section for cybersecurity, a space force, the border wall, anti-money laundering. It's in this bill. But Donald Trump is pissed. Although these days, and this isn't taking sides, Donald Trump being pissed is not unusual. The impacts of him being pissed off, though, could be. Trump appears to be actually upset for 3 reasons, and none of them really have to do with China. The first is the renaming of Confederate bases. So here are some examples. There are some Confederate bases throughout the country, and Donald Trump does not want these Confederate bases renamed because maybe even though they honor Confederate war heroes, if you could call them war heroes, Donald Trump says, hey, we shouldn't rewrite history because societal impressions have changed. So some examples of the bases that might get renamed are, for example, Fort Benning. Fort Benning was named after a dude who fought against Union troops in the Second Battle of Bull Run. Fort Bragg was named after a guy who, per military.com, lost almost every single battle he commanded. Military.com wrote that, okay? I'm not trying to bag on the guy. Fort Pickett was named after George Pickett, who apparently charged his infantry in what was known as probably the worst military charge ever of infantry, and basically lost the battle at Gettysburg because of this. So, I mean, this all goes back in history. Anyway, Donald Trump says, no, we're not going to rewrite history because our attitudes and opinions have changed. That's issue number 1. Issue number 2. This is probably the real reason, right? Donald Trump wants Section 230 of the 1996 Communication Decency Act overturned. Oh, that's a mouthful. So just ignore that. If you don't know what that means, ignore that. I'm going to explain it right now. Basically, that act which Donald Trump wants gone. It gives websites like Twitter liability protections against anything posted on their website because they're just a platform like YouTube or Facebook. But technically, it also protects these tech giants when they decide to censor people, either like in secret with a shadow ban or overtly by like flagging Donald Trump's tweets or censoring them, which they kind of do on almost a daily basis. Donald Trump believes that removing Section 230 would set up Twitter for liability for censoring him, making it less likely that Twitter would censor him for fear of basically getting sued by Donald Trump. And we know that Donald Trump's got like 50 lawsuits going on over the election, so it's very likely that Twitter would get sued if Section 230 were gone. And Donald Trump believes, apparently, which is what we're hearing, we're not inside his head, but this is what we're hearing. Apparently, Donald Trump believes that if Section 230 is overturned, it's going to help him in a rematch campaign against Joe Biden in 2024 so he can fundraise for that re-election campaign without intervention by big tech. Now, the NDAA could have included turning over this section, which would have made Donald Trump very happy, but Congress did not include it. Issue number 3 is Donald Trump is upset that there are provisions in the bill that make it harder for Trump to withdraw troops from Afghanistan. Donald Trump wants troops out of Afghanistan because it was a campaign promise of his. However, even Mitch McConnell says this is a bad idea because it could potentially leave a power vacuum in the region and basically let the Taliban take more control. All right, so if Donald Trump vetoes this bill, the bill goes back to Congress. So what does this mean for not only the military, but what does it mean for stimulus negotiations? Okay, so let's take out this collapsed and broken whiteboard over here and try to understand what the heck is going on. So this is how Congress is supposed to operate, and I say supposed to because Congress sucks. But anyway, here's the National Defense Authorization Act. Yay, Congress did something. Check. Okay, it was a stopgap bill, which basically said, hey, Congress is just going to kick the can down the road for a week. Okay, check. We did that too. Hey, look, Congress is actually working. Oh my gosh. Then there's the Omnibus Package, which the Omnibus Package is just a fancy way of saying, yo, we got a stack of bills on the desk over here that we got to pass so we can fund the government because otherwise the government's going to shut down. We're going to call that Omnibus to make it sound special, but it's really just a stapled together piece of 12 bills. That's the Omnibus Package, okay? That is pending, so box not checked yet. Then we've got the stimulus negotiation, which the stimulus bill is going to ride on the Omnibus Package. They're going to kind of get passed together. So these are kind of linked, if I can kind of put like a little link in between these. So once you check the Omnibus, you probably check the other one too. That's the theory, at least. But Congress is pretty nuts when it comes to theories, without a doubt. Anyway, the deadline to get this Omnibus and stimulus package done is December 18th. However, if Donald Trump comes in and says, hey, not so fast, veto, well, that means this NDAA, which has a deadline of getting passed by January 1st, ends up getting kicked over into negotiations right here with the Omnibus Package because Congress is trying to get out of work and they're trying to go home so they can celebrate by December 18th. Well, now you're throwing the NDAA into the mix of stimulus negotiations and the omnibus negotiations, as if Congress didn't already have enough to do. So this is where things get a little complicated. Now, technically, Congress could just overturn Donald Trump's veto. That could happen, and that's because when the bill was passed the first time, the NDAA, it passed by a vote of 335 to 78 in the House, which, just to make that a little bit easier to understand, in the House, it passed with 77% support. And in the Senate, it passed by 84 to 13, which is 84% support, counting the abstentions there. However, and then keep in mind, Congress only needs 67% or a supermajority to overturn a presidential veto. So they have the power to do it. But the problem is, Kevin McCarthy, who is the minority leader in the House of Representatives, has said, hey, look, if Trump vetoes the NDAA, sorry, we ain't going to veto it. We just won't pass it again. And that means the military basically shuts down. Now, there's some asterisks on that, okay? It's not like we're going to be all of a sudden vulnerable to attack. Some will make that argument, but hold the horses on that one, so to speak. Donald Trump also has not actually vetoed this yet. Technically, Trump has until December 21st, right before Christmas, to sign or veto the bill. And if he doesn't do anything, it just automatically becomes law, which means we have another 8 days-ish for Donald Trump to actually veto this. The danger would be that Donald Trump vetoes the NDAA like today or tomorrow, which then makes this next week, the next 5 days, insane for congressional news. Like, it's gonna be stupid because you're literally throwing a wrench in the stimulus negotiations. Now, and it also sets us up for yet another fiscal cliff coming at the end of the year, right? We've got unemployment pay running out. We've got the eviction crisis coming. We've got the expiration of military pay on January 1st. So what happens if this bill actually gets vetoed and then Congress doesn't do anything? Because you've got people like Kevin McCarthy saying, if it gets vetoed, it gets vetoed, and we're just not going to do anything. Okay, so what then? Well, that means that $8.5 billion of military construction money stops. $70 million for schools for military children stops. Special pay for military individuals, gone. Bonuses, gone. Hazard pay, gone. Pay for Defense Department civilian employees, gone. Technically, troops still get their 3% pay raise because, well, that's automatic. You don't need this bill to do that. But bonuses won't go through. So that means holiday bonuses aren't going to go through. So going forward, that could potentially actually mean that our military is going to shut down. Then Mitch McConnell says, this is really going to hurt the military if the military shuts down. Like, we got to pass this bill. So Congress would be really incentivized to prioritize the NDAA. I mean, it's not a good sign for the world to see the U.S.'s military shut down because they can't get stuff done in Congress. Nuts. Doesn't look good. And it's also not good for the military. I mean, obviously, parts of the military are still going to be working without pay, but it's a problem. Now, here's the reality right now. Donald Trump has not vetoed this bill yet. It's entirely possible that he's just saber rattling. That's when you make noise on Twitter and nothing ends up happening. That would be best case scenario on this because then Congress could just freaking focus on the stimulus package and the government funding bill. So this really only becomes an issue if Donald Trump vetoes this bill before the omnibus and stimulus negotiations are done. So in other words, the sooner Congress gets the omnibus negotiations and stimulus negotiations done, the less risk we have of this military bill screwing things up. If Donald Trump just goes, that's it, I'm pissed, and vetoes this tonight or tomorrow or really any day this week, it's going to throw a wrench in the gears. It's just going to delay things. It's going to mean Congress is probably going to be here through Christmas, which means we got to pay attention to Congress throughout the Christmas season. We're still going to be wondering when the heck stimulus is going to come, and that December 18th deadline to get stimulus done is probably going to get kicked down the road again. Nancy Pelosi's already suggested, hey, we've been here before in over Christmas, so why don't we just stay here again so we can negotiate this appropriately? So, there you have everything about what's going on with this military drama. If you like the way I break things down, consider checking out the amazing programs linked down below so I can help you learn how to build wealth just like you learn about the news. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing and sharing if you found this helpful, and folks, we'll see you in the next video.